textile traditions are particularly rich throughout Indonesia, where they have served in social, spiritual, and practical realms for centuries. Batik, a wax-resist dyeing method that leaves intricate patterns on cloth, is also made elsewhere in the world, but has reached its highest level of development on Java, one of the principal Indonesian islands. In Java, batik is made in villages in and near the karatons or palaces, and in urban factories and workshops. There are thought to be thousands of batik designs, many of which have special cultural significance. Javanese batik has been an extraordinarily dynamic art form, assimilating a myriad of inspirations while developing and maintaining a characteristic Javanese aesthetic. As trading goods, batik also has its own delicacy and is well known in the international market. As a matter of fact, the export value of Indonesian batik products is estimated at 21.5 million US dollars in 2020 alone. Though the proportion might not account much compared to the nation's total income, the number is significant enough to consider the industry as impactful to the national economy. Historically, batik as trading goods have been involved in the market since the colonial era. In the 16th and 17th centuries, Europeans entered the already active trade between China and India. Residents of the archipelago had already been participants in this commerce for many years. After the 1602 establishment of the Dutch East India Company, the Dutch became the most important commercial power in Indonesia. Indian textiles, including the expensive double ikat patola and cheaper block or resist-dyed textiles, were the dominant exchange currency for Malay spices and other goods. In the 17th century, the Dutch secured a monopoly on the highly esteemed patola cloth. The great demand in the archipelago for Indian trade textiles for ceremonial and other uses may have contributed to the Europeans' ability to gain a foothold in Southeast Asia. Their commerce ultimately involved them in local politics, which led to the long Dutch colonial period. The Dutch maintained an interest in textiles and were tempted to invigorate the domestic batik industry in various ways. Additionally, Dutch Indonesian entrepreneurs ran successful batik studios which introduced new designs and uses for batik, especially on the north coast. The Dutch colonial regime was interrupted briefly by the British in the 19th century and collapsed with the Japanese invasion in 1942. The Dutch recognized Indonesian independence in 1950. In the modern world, batik as trading goods still has its market potential. The appeal for batik is always available, with improved values as years went by. As a matter of fact, the Indonesian government has even utilized the industry as a part of the foreign policy agenda called cultural diplomacy. In this government agenda, the batik industry played an important role, not just to promote itself and gain more connection with foreign customers, but also to become the representation for Indonesian culture and proud identity, a national symbol nonetheless. However, export activities are not the only option for the batik industry to grow in Indonesia. The other option or path comes in the form of becoming a tourism destination. This is primarily due to the uniqueness of producing batik fabric and the clothing itself. Traditionally, batik is made either by drawing dots and lines of wax resist dyes with a spotted tool called janting, or by printing the resist with a cover stamp called cap. This sort of production process has become rare to find nowadays in Indonesia, and thus it has created an additional trait of attraction to the area that still preserve the traditional artisans for the batik industry. It is also important to note that becoming a tourist destination would also require the implementation of tourism principles and regulations. The tourism principle of 4A, attractions, access, amenities, and ancillary services, has become the rule of thumb for a tourism destination to build its businesses upon. The first A, attraction, refers to the natural, cultural, and spatial attractions or other kinds of unique and characteristic traits that could be found in a certain area that draws people to visit the area. Accessibility, on the other hand, refers to the transportation, infrastructure, and services that connect the tourism destination with other places. Ancillary refers to the availability of tourism boards, associations, and communities that would accommodate both service providers and prospective consumers to gain information regarding the destination. Lastly, amenity refers to the other complementary services which are essential to support the tourism destination itself, which includes but not limited to foods and beverages, hotels, and tourist guides. At this point of explanation, it is also important to address Desa Bekonang as one of the potentials in developing the batik industry. Aside from the gamelan and alcohol industry, Desa Bekonang is known for its textile products such as batik and kain pantai. Although experts are not the main objective of the marketing textile industry, the batik in Desa Bekonang is without a doubt has similar potential with other batik products in the international market. However, it is also important to be noted that engaging with export activities would also mean there should be an increase of adequate production capacity to meet the demand. Thus, it left the question for every business stakeholder on whether or not the industry should engage more in export activities. In Desa Bekonang, the communities have also established the Center for Batik Artisans. Through this establishment, it has become clear that the industry aims to be a tourism destination as a means to open up its market. Thus, the 4A principle should also be fulfilled for the businesses to sustain itself. Facilities supporting the existence of the batik industry as the main cultural attraction, such as adequate transportation infrastructure, tourism centers for information, and other complementary services should be the direction of which the development in the village be headed upon. The main drawbacks of transforming the village as a tourism destination is the severe dependency on extra factors. For instance, to fulfill the aforementioned 4A principles, the batik industry should cooperate with other stakeholders existed beyond the communities itself, from local communities, governments, and academia. However, in its recent development, COVID-19 pandemic has forced various businesses in Desa Bekonang to be permanently closed. And unfortunately, the batik industry is no exception. Travel restrictions have become the major hindrance for any tourism destination to survive and caused the batik industry in Desa Bekonang to also pay their toll. The majority of the workers were forced to change occupations and are no longer involved in the production of the village signature batik. It was such an unfortunate event to say the least, but hopefully the roadmap discussed in this video would give some insights on where the industry should be headed once this pandemic ends and businesses starting to open again. Thanks for watching this video. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video or dislike if you find it unpleasant. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this in the future and other activities would set for our community service program. Thank you and have a wonderful day.